This marked the first time that any government in the country had contracted out the complete operation of a jail to a private operator. The following year, CCA gained further public attention when it offered to take over the entire state prison system of Tennessee for $200 million. Now, and this is what we're talking about. You know, these places are trying to tell the taxpayer that they're saving money when in fact they're scamming. I mean, it's a fraud situation where you think that you're saving money, the taxpayer money, and everything else, and you're not saving the taxpayer money. You're basically going to sell back everything. You're going to make a profit on doing the work they were already doing, and there is no way you can do it cheaper than the state.
Well, let's look at privatized prisons in the United States today.
Right.
Private prisons in the United States operate 264 correctional facilities, housing almost 99,000 adult offenders. Companies operating such facilities include the Correctional Corporation America, GEO Group Incorporated, which was Wackenhut. They changed their name from a security company.
Right.
And community education centers. The GEO Group was formerly known as Wackenhut Securities. Corrections Corporation of America has a capacity of more than 80,000 beds in 65 correctional facilities. The GEO Group operates 61 facilities with a capacity of 49,000 offended beds. Most privately run facilities are located in the south and western portions of the United States, including both state and federal offenders.
This is an amazing situation, and we need to make sure that our audience knows, because of the way you gather information and research, we're a little bit behind. They are even greater than what we're talking about.
Oh, yes.
We're extremely conservative what we're talking about. Now, they did a cost-benefit analysis, and according to an opinion by the Reason Foundation, private prisons are held to a level of accountability because they can be fined or fired, unlike their government counterparts. Wow. In 2008, a release study evidence indicated that states can save a substantial amount of money if they use a shared system of both privately and public managed prisons. Well, there's a catch in here. Okay. The research showed that during the study period from 1999 to 2004, states were able to save $15 million on their yearly corrections budget by using at least some privately managed prisons. The study was overseen by James Blumstein, Director of Health Policy Center, Vanderbilt Institution for Public Policy Studies. However, what one doesn't realize in this, okay, when they ship out individuals that are poor, that have no resources, that don't have anybody in the community. So they take this individual who's in a prison that's costing them X amount of dollars. They ship him to a place where he's going to get less meals, less chance of medical payments. He's going to be a not at-risk person, so that their security is lighter. And then they find initially their security is lighter. So the cost benefit is really could happen in their own state. Other people have suggested that the cost saving comes at the expense of security. In the wake of the escape of 3 murderers from the minimum and medium security prison. This was in Kingman, Arizona, the Kingman prison in Arizona. The Attorney General and now gubernatorial candidate Terry Goddard said, "I believe a big part of our problem is that the very violent inmates, like the 3 that escaped, ended up getting reclassified as lower risk quickly and sent to private prisons that were just not up to the job." Okay, so they're saying, they're finding out that these places are cutting costs, okay, that are not beneficial to anybody.
But you got to keep it in perspective. Now, when they first started, they dealt with very low-level prisoners.
Right.
And there was no heat going on at the time. Now, what ends up happening is, remember, this is a for-profit organization.
Exactly.
So, salaries are extremely low, lack of training,
That's right.
and then what ends up happening is now, when you start getting a higher security inmate, you don't have the staff that's trained and qualified as the state correctional agencies.
That's exactly
They
right.
are far low underneath the wire, and you're going to have big problems. People are going to now start escaping. When you get a tougher when you get a higher security inmate and you put him into an institution that has no programs, you have high violence. And when you have staff that's not trained, that's getting paid minimum wage, right, then people end up getting killed. And there's numerous stuff in here about inmates being killed. And they've been sued. CCA got sued for something like 41 or 51 million dollars for just standing there watching inmates beat another inmate to death.
Well, this is where it becomes outrageous, and then who's held accountable for the situation? When you have placed, when the state has placed the inmate into a private facility, they are still responsible for that inmate. So when you're talking legal process and suits, guess who's going to end up paying the
absolutely.
big money is the state. So there is no
Absolutely.
saving. All of this stuff about saving is covered up in shadows that people do not understand. It's like you were talking about the switch and bait system. This is fraud. They're out there selling the taxpayer that you're going to save money. Let me buy your prison. Let me buy your prison. It's like, okay, I'm going to buy your prison. Now, I buy your prison from whatever. You seem to think you save money because you got a bundle of dough. And the next thing, well, what are you going to do with your prisoners? Oh, you need to deal with your prisoners. Well, I'm going to take care of them for you. Well, I'm going to charge you for taking care of them, of course. And you're going to give me all that money that I gave you to buy the prison back. And then once that is recovered, I got that, I'm going to continue to charge you for your prison population. Once you've done that, you sold your system. You'd have to start up a whole new thing because I own the prison.
And it's not something you can just pick up and run with.
Exactly
if
right.
You lost all your trained professionals.
You lost all. You gave them away because now they work for me, and everything else. So you would have to. Your startup costs would be astronomical, and this is what people are not
Well, you don't even get to the
understanding.
startup cost because now you're dependent
On-
the corporations have the state by the nose.
Right, right.
And they will dictate the price.
Exactly right.
And you're screwed.
And you're screwed.
And here's like one of the things here. Private prison contracting of prisoners for workforce is incentive to lock people up. Prisons depend on this income. Corporate stockholders who make money off of prisoners lobby for longer sentences in order to expand their workforce. The system feeds itself, as a study by the Progressive Labor Party, which accuses the prison industry of being an imitation of Nazi Germany in respect to forced labor in concentration camps. Now, there are approximately 2 million inmates in state, federal, and private prisons. It's closer to 2.5 million now today throughout the country. According to California Prison Focus, which you can go online and they have very good information, no other society in human history has imprisoned so many of its own citizens. The figures show that the United States has locked up more people than any other country, 500,000 more than China, which has a population 5 times greater than the United States. Statistics reveal that the United States holds 25% of the world's prison population, but only 5% of the world's people. From less than 300,000 inmates in 1972, the jail population grew to 2 million by the year 2000. In 1990, it was 1 million. 10 years ago, there were only 5 private prisons in the country with a population of 2,000 inmates. Now there are 100 with 62,000 inmates.